Hi, everybody. It's Jenny. No judgment in the fact that I'm wearing the same thing I wore yesterday. I wear this t-shirt to bed often. It's kind of almost like pajamas. So I just throw on different shirts on top of it often. I actually have a couple different t-shirts that I wear to bed. And in the wintertime, I throw on different sweatshirts on top of them. So I do not get on the treadmill till after I finish teaching my morning classes. And then I do this video. And then I get on the treadmill. And then I shower. Just so you don't think I'm making all these videos on the same day, or that you don't think I'm terribly gross. But if you want to think I'm gross, that's fine. It doesn't really matter, I suppose. All right, let's get down to the numbers. I have something really interesting to talk about today. I found a section in the pounds and inches protocol that I hadn't even seen before. And it doesn't pertain to my weight today, but it will pertain to my weight probably within this next week. So I thought it would be good to share with you. Or if you are near the beginning of dieting, this will be something that is pertinent to you. But really, I think throughout the entire diet, or even any dieting, especially the hCG dieting, this is applicable and really great information. A little bit longer. It's 3 small paragraphs as opposed to 2 small paragraphs. And when I say small, they're very small. There's only a couple sentences per paragraph. So it's not that much. So I'll probably end up reading it to you. But first, let's get down to numbers. I forgot to write them down. Oh, no, I didn't. I did write it down. Okay, so this is the second day. I got on the scale today. I had 2 days of eating on P2. I lost 3.6 on day number 1. And I lost 1.3 on day number 2. So that made me very, very happy. Why? Because, yeah, I had the Costco pizza. See yesterday's video if you want to know about that. Not on the diet. So, right, 2 pieces of Costco pizza. 2 different meals covered in a pile of lettuce. So every bite was a huge mouthful of lettuce with a little tiny piece of pizza. It was amazing. And the pizza is now out of the house. Gone. We can refocus, and I'll need to refocus because after eating that but still losing weight, it makes you always nervous for the next day that it's going to take a day or so to adjust. So I definitely, it obviously had some water retention kind of. It had a little, it was combo, so it had a lot of vegetables, but it also had like sausage and pepperoni on it as well, which is going to retain water. Okay, so all in all, we're 2 days into P2 and I have lost 4.9 pounds. So that's awesome. It's awesome. Okay. Inflated numbers. We all know that, but it doesn't matter. It still makes me feel really good inside. And I'm very, very happy to be in the 160s. So I started at 173. I'm down to 168 in 2 days. Again, was I really 173? No, that was loading numbers. So I didn't really get on the scale ahead of time. So I don't know how much I gained in loading. But I'm guessing probably about 5 pounds. And I've lost 4.9. And that's usually what happens with me when I'm on hCG. I usually gain about 5 pounds on 2 days of loading, and I usually lose about 5 pounds in my first 2 days. So I'm right on track, which makes me happy because when I was starting this just a couple weeks ago, everything was off. I was losing weight during loading, and then I was stalled just like a couple days later. The numbers made no sense, and I think Tom had a big part to do with that. And so we're not dealing with Tom anymore. We can just do straight numbers, and this makes me very happy. This is really where I should have started dieting anyway. Nevertheless, what we're going to talk about today is fluctuations in weight loss. There is a paragraph in Dr. Simeon's protocol that is simply titled Fluctuations in Weight Loss. And I find it interesting. I'm going to read it to you so that you can feel better about yourself if you have fluctuations in your weight loss or if you're anything like me. It just made me feel good to read this. Okay, here we go. After the 4th or 5th day of dieting, the daily loss of weight begins to decrease to 1 pound or less per day. And there is a smaller urinary output, so you pee less, is what he's saying. Men often continue to lose regularly at that rate, but women are more irregular in spite of faultless dieting. It's so nice to hear him say, women can do the diet perfectly, but they are still going to lose less weight than the men are on this diet. Or let's just say any diet, right? Because life is not fair when it comes to being a woman. All right, let me continue to read. There may be no drop at all for 2 or 3 days, and then a sudden weight loss, which reestablishes the normal average. Okay, and so I've seen this in dieting before. Sometimes I've gone as much as almost a whole week. I've gone like 5 to 6 days, almost no weight loss, or like a little up, a little down, a little up, a little down, essentially nothing. And then I'll have 3 days of like 1.1, 1.5, 1 point, and like big losses. All right, but he goes on to explain that. Okay. These fluctuations are entirely due to variations in the retention and elimination of water, which are more marked in women than in men. That makes me feel better too, because my body is one that definitely can show a 2-pound gain or loss on any given day, dieting or not. And I've always believed the only thing that makes sense is water retention. And I know I retain a lot of water at different times for whatever reasons, because my scale fluctuates so significantly. Some women aren't that way. Some women, their scale is always the same. I have friends like that. They're not really friends. Anyone that doesn't gain weight is not a friend. Just kidding. I do have friends that they're like, oh my gosh, I look out on the scale and I've gained 3 pounds in the past like 2 months. And I'm like, what? I can do that in a day. So, all right, everyone's a little bit different, but it's good to hear him say, okay, when this is happening, it's not your body not burning calories or burning too many calories. This is all water, but he goes on to explain it even more, and that's what makes this so great. Okay, so here's what it says. It just kind of explains the whole water situation. Okay. The weight registered by the scale is determined by 2 processes not necessarily synchronized under the influence of hCG. Fat is being extracted from the cells on hCG, in which it is stored in the fatty tissue. When these cells are empty and therefore serve no purpose, the body breaks down the cellular structure and then absorbs it. Okay, but breaking up these useless cells that were in that area and the connective tissues and the blood vessels, etc., may lag behind the process of the fat extraction. All right, so the fat's extracted from these cells. These useless cells and connective tissues and blood vessels are still there, serving no purpose. When this happens, the body appears to replace some of that extracted fat with water, which is retained for this purpose. As water is heavier than fat, the scale may show no weight loss, although sufficient weight has been lost and it has actually been consumed up and used as part of the nutrients during the 500-calorie diet. When then such tissue here is finally broken down in the body, since it lags behind the actual fat, the water is liberated and there is a sudden flood of urine and marked weight loss. So at this point, you'll find yourself peeing more. I haven't really paid that close attention to how much I'm peeing during the day, to be honest with you, but it makes sense that if you have water retention, you'll pee less, and then when that water's reduced, you pee more. Okay. Urinate more, I shouldn't say pee. I raised 3 kids. Peas in my brain. I never used the word pee until I had kids. Okay. The simple interpretation of what is really an extremely complex mechanism is the one we give those patients who want to know why it is that on certain days they do not lose any weight, though they have been committed no dietary error. All right. So basically, Dr. Simeon is saying this is a complex process that I just explained in a very basic, simple way. Okay, your body's eating up the fat. There's some residual stuff there. For whatever reason, your body tends to hold on to water after that fat is removed. And it takes a while for your body to go, okay, fat's not coming back, which is why it's important to stay on this diet and not yo-yo. After a period of time when it realizes, there's not going to be any fat here, there's no use for us, the connective tissue, the blood vessels, and the extra water it was retaining are all flushed out. All right. Now, I don't know how much because the blood vessels aren't going to get flushed out in that. Let's just say this. Let's just say, for argument's sake, since he really dumbed it down and simplified it here. The connective tissue doesn't go away because we know that when you develop fat cells, the fat cells don't really leave. Maybe they thought they did back in the 60s, and we know better now. But I know that when you develop a fat cell, it's always there. It shrinks and it goes away. But unless you have lipo or something, that fat cell still exists. It's just shrunken down, which is why it would be so wonderful if I had this information earlier on in my life and not let myself ever get to a larger size, because that's why it's so much easier to get back to a larger size, because that fat cell is still there, ready to absorb it, more fat and grow again. All right, so the whole concept of all this stuff leaving, I don't know about that, but I do buy into the fact that the fat is being removed from all these cells in this area, and your body, for whatever reason, is holding on to water in that place. Maybe, again, thinking that the fat's going to come right back and it's keeping its larger size, whatever it is. And then water, eventually your body goes, oh, okay, I don't need to be holding on to this water anymore. Fat's gone. I don't need the water. It is what it is. Okay. I find that very interesting, don't you? I love that explanation. I love the visual of it. I love the explanation of it rather than just saying, I'm retaining water. I'm not retaining water. Why am I retaining water? Because I had more sodium. I ate more salt. I mean, that's really talk about really basic. So this, even though this is a basic interpretation of a more complex system that's going on in your body, I like it to help me really understand, okay, I'm going to go this long period of time as my body's losing this fat, but I'm not going to see it on the scale, but then I will. I 100% identify with this on this diet. I will go long periods of time of not the scale, of eating great and the scale not demonstrating it. And then not doing bad or not really changing it. I mean, sometimes I try to change it up because I feel like maybe I need to spur on. But the reality is, if this is the process that's really happening, it's just a matter of time. It's just a matter of sticking it out until your body goes, okay, water release. Don't need it anymore. Scale, boom. Lose a pound, lose a pound, lose a pound, lose a pound, 4 days in a row, because it's not holding on to that water anymore. I will say that my rings, I can tell on my hand, especially the second one, because this one is smaller. There are times I can't get it off at all, and it's a little bit of a struggle to get it off right now. There are times it'll slide right off my hand, and so it's a combination of weight that makes it like that and also water retention. So I can lose weight and I can be at the point where these rings are very, very, very loose. This one's slipping all around since it's the larger one of the two. And the other one can slide off really easily. I could still be eating well, but then all of a sudden they're snugger on me. So that's just water retention. That's not fat. All right. Both of those come into play for me. All right. I hope you found I hope you found that interesting and beneficial to you. I have never, ever heard it explained this way before, right there in the protocol. It's something to hang on to when you run into a stall. Know that things are still happening. In fact, embrace the stall. Go, I like the stall because this means my body is losing fat and it's holding on to extra water, which weighs more. So welcome, embrace your stalls. Know that it's a sign that you're actually losing weight and stick with it because a few days down the road, there's a light at the end of the tunnel. All right, I'll see you tomorrow on day number 3 with my update and something else from Dr. Simeon's protocol. We'll see. I don't know. I'll find something to share with you. Bye-bye.